Welcome to the Hustle Wing podcast. Today we are joined by Tom Nassr, the co-founder and CEO at XRay Tech, a workflow optimization consultancy that specializes in building automations to help people save their time. Hi there, Tom. How are you doing? Thank you for joining us.
Hey, I'm doing pretty great. Thanks for having me.
No worries, no worries. So before we get into the conversation, I am interested in finding out a little bit more about X-Ray Tech. Can you please, tell us about some of your products and the story behind the platform?
Sure. X-Ray Tech is really doing a whole bunch of things at the same time. We do have a pretty strong consulting arm, but more recently, we've been getting into products. So our main product that you might have come across is called X-Ray Tools. It's an automation search engine. So you're able to add in whatever software you're using today and see what automation providers actually support for that tool. So you might look at Slack or Zoom or something like that, and you can see on Zapier, Make, Workato, Bardeen, N8N, and Microsoft Power Automate. It's a pretty long list now. What all of the automation providers actually support for that specific tool, be Notion or Slack or anything else. We have a little over 10,000 tools indexed, so chances are your tool is on there. But it's really just to help no coders figure out what's possible with the tools you already use.
Hmm. Why the specific route?
Well, really, from X-Ray Tech's beginning, we're sort of witnessing this emergence of something we call a workflow designer. And a workflow designer, as we define it, is a person who designs the way people do work on the internet using the tools they already use, automation and AI where it's actually appropriate, right? So this workflow designer, their goal is to optimize the human time inside of organizations, the way that people spend their day. So they need to sort of understand the cross section of business utility and the value that the business creates, and the things that people are naturally good at and actually want to do, the creative, analytical, strategic, or thoughtful things that people do inside of companies. How can the workflow designer design the digital systems around what people do every day to make work a little bit more fun and fulfilling and get more stuff done?
Yeah. Usually that kind of description makes people a little bit nervous because I might be sitting at home and thinking, is the automation replacing me or is it amplifying my work? Let's talk about that.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a great question and a great like line to walk on there. We are very strong believers in amplifying people. If you were to get paid 20% more, you're not going to work 20% more, right? At a certain level, your high performing, your best people, the founders of the company are just strapped for time, and you need to amplify the things that they do. And the real limiting factor in any organization is the throughput of decision making. How can we make more decisions faster that are better decisions informed by data that you can trust? And that's where sort of the automation and no code tool set and skill set really comes into play to be able to amplify the people that are just drowning and have too much work to do.
Mm, nice. I think yeah, at home they might be like, "Whew, okay, I'm not being replaced just as yet. I'm not being replaced just as yet. The conversation around AI is always just around, are we being replaced? Or is the other systems just merely amplifying the work that we do? So I appreciate that it's also just still more focusing around, the amplification of impact. That is still, I mean, really looking at how humans are working and just amplifying that. I'm excited to find out about some of the maybe new projects that are upcoming that you guys are working on or existing. I mean, you just touched on the tools. Are there more projects that you guys are working on? And I mean, I asked this question because we have a diverse network of, side hustlers that might be interested in plugging in and helping out, in any of those projects or opportunities that you guys might have. Are there any projects or opportunities where our community can plug in to sort of contribute?
Yeah, I think there's a number of ways. So in the next couple of months, we will be enabling X-ray tools to allow for submissions. So if you have a tool that maybe has a private Zapier integration or a private Make integration, you would be able to list that on X-Ray Tools so people can discover that your app also has an integration. It's just not listed publicly. So X-Ray Tools is sort of its own avenue of discovering what you can do with the tools you already use. The other product that we're building is called X-Ray Workflow. And this is sort of like a tool agnostic home screen for anything on the internet. What ends up happening in a lot of our implementations is companies use multiple tools to accomplish something, right? Onboarding is a really great example. If you're a freelancer and you're onboarding a new customer, you might need to create a Google Drive folder, add them as a customer to QuickBooks Online, or be able to create a new channel and invite them to Slack, or set a kickoff email, a kickoff calendar event, or send a welcome email. Like, all of those types of things have to happen. So X-Ray Workflow allows you to take the Google Sheet and the Airtable base and the URL for your meeting Zoom link or scheduler, and add it into a home screen that you can share directly with your customer. And the way that we designed the application is it basically takes in whatever links you want to put anywhere on the internet and just puts it in one screen in a very familiar layout with different squares of, representing the Notion URL or the Airtable base. And it accumulates all of the resources that you use throughout the project. So, if you're a designer and you're designing a UI on Figma, you could actually embed that Figma link and say, hey, just check the board, the same URL that we've been using this entire project. You can refer back to that, and all of the context for a given workflow or a given project is in one place. So X-Ray Workflow is really a very flexible application to sort of fit the type of freelancing work or even no code building work that you might be doing. But we use it at X-Ray to deliver all of our work. So anytime, from the first time someone hops on a call with us, they get our presentations and our scheduler and access to X-Ray Tools, and they can see that. And then every additional meeting that we have, we add the AI summary and transcription of our call into that board too, so they can sort of see information accumulating as the project goes on. So it would be wonderful to see a couple new signups, and would be happy to give an onboarding call or an onboarding tutorial to anyone who's listening to this podcast that wants a 101. Happy to help.
Sure. Let's go back into the industry, because you mentioned before we started recording that you're going to an event in Paris, and I mean, I suppose there again there will be obviously conversations around some of the emerging trends within the space. Talk to me about that.
Sure. So I think the industry right now, one is it's super young, right? And we've been in the no code automation space for the last 3 years. We started in January 21, and if this is any validation, I've been paying for Zapier since 2016. So we've been around the block when it comes to these automation providers and building these tools. The industry itself, I think, is really sort of fragmented in a couple different ways, and some terms are interpreted differently. Like the no-code term, what does that really mean? Or automation as a term, or AI as a term. And a lot of people think it's sort of a magic wand, like, oh, automation will just connect all my systems and then it'll magically work. Or no-code, does no-code mean automation or not? It's a little cloudy for some people. So in our space, in specifically workflow design, no code is referring to the ability to design automations. You can design and implement automations without code. AI, on the other hand, is really for what happens after you have cleanly structured data. So in order to make AI even useful for you, you need to have information that is clean enough to feed an AI. So automation helps firms structure their data in a clean way so that they can feed it to AI to get some insights out of it. So these three terms, they're really sort of their own industries onto themselves, but they all sort of converge when it comes to talking about automation and workflow design. How can I build automations that structure data to be clean? And then how can that automation be extended to ask the AI, for some insight or something useful? And you're able to do all of that right now without coding, which is pretty cool.
I think I want to stay there because I know that you guys offer different services, right? And I mean, you touched on briefly earlier on about them. Can you also maybe just expand the different types of tools that can be found on X-Ray Tools?
Oh, sure. I mean, of the 10,000 tools on X-Ray Tools, right? There are 10,000 plus tools that are on there, right? There's everything from scheduling applications to Google Calendar or any Google or Microsoft tool, or even industry specific tools. We've seen some industry specific things around sort of the skilled trades, so something for roofers or something for landscapers or construction companies. The X-Ray Tools encapsulates all of the tools that are on Zapier, Make, Workato, Bardeen, N8N, and Microsoft Power Automate. And those are the top 6 automation providers in the world right now. So chances are, if you're trying to automate something using a relatively popular tool, it's indexed on X-Ray Tools, and you'll be able to say, oh, on make.com, I can do XYZ things, but in Zapier, I can only do these things. Like you can really compare them all in one eye shot, and it just makes it so much easier as a builder to say, hey, if I'm using these 3 tools, I should definitely use Zapier in that case, because you can see that Zapier supports all of the actions, triggers, and searches that you want to build into an automation.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for that. Before I let you go, Tom, once again, if folks sitting at home are interested in working with you guys, can you please just briefly walk us again through those opportunities that are available for folks out there?
Sure. If you're a builder, if you're someone who knows how to code or is interested in sort of no code engineering, in designing workflows, there's a couple different ways that we could be put on your radar. One is we're actually coming out with a class at the end of this calendar year. It's called the Workflow Design Class. It's a flat $250, and it comes with a couple hours of really premium quality content around how to think and strategize around workflow design, and then how to implement that. So that's just at course.xray.tech, and you'll see all the information about the course there. The other way is, if you're an experienced freelancer right now, today, and you want to get paid to work with your favorite no code or low code apps, get paid to work with tools you love. We actually just launched a service called lowcodeengineers.com. And at lowcodeengineers.com, we basically are paying low code engineers, right? People that are familiar with the tools that they love, $100 an hour to take hourly calls with other people that are looking to hire. So on the other side, if you're at an enterprise and you're looking to sort of use some of these cutting edge low code or no code tools like Notion, Airtable, Zapier, Make, Workato, all of these that we've mentioned here, you'll be able to hire them for a flat $250 an hour. And again, all of the recordings are transcribed and summarized by AI and then delivered to you automatically through X-Ray workflow. So any, API documents or resources that your low-code engineer sets up for you will be on that home screen for context that we mentioned earlier, and you'll have that forever, and that's just a part of the service.
Nice. Thank you so much, Tom, for your time. Really enjoyed this conversation. You really shed some light on a few interesting things, especially around no coding. I think it was quite insightful. Before I let you go, where can folks find you or X-Ray Tech on social media?
Yeah, the best place to find us is going to be on our YouTube channel at X-Ray Automation. We are at X-Ray Automation on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. All of our content is on our website, which is xray.tech. And you can find me personally on LinkedIn at Tom Nassr, if you'd like.
Cool. Thank you so much, Tom.
Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.